Okay, perfect. It says I'm live now. Hopefully we'll stay live. Yeah. Hi everyone. Please let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, please. Let me know if you can hear me. Yes, Frederica, it went off. I don't know why it went off, but okay, perfect. You can hear me. Hi, Adeze. Okay, perfect. Okay, Kalira is here, so we can just go ahead and start the conversation. I don't know what's happening today. Perfect. Hi.
Can you see me?
How are you doing? Yes, I can see you.
Yeah, I think this is fine.
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, great. And you can hear me?
I can hear you too. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. And you?
Doing very, very well. Thank you.
That's
First of
good.
all, I just want to say thank you for agreeing to have this conversation with me. Yeah, I'm just truly grateful that, you'll come on, take time off your busy schedule, for us
Busy.
to do this. So yes,
Well,
thank you. Um, so I'd like us to just jump right in. Just tell us a bit about yourself, anything you want us to know about you before we dive into the real matter.
when I'm asked to talk about myself, it's a bit hard because then I don't know where to start from. But can you hear me? I don't know.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sure. So, I guess I like to think of myself as a simple girl who wants the beautiful things in life,
Mm-hmm.
and will not compromise. But on a more serious note, my name is Josephine Kalera Talungu. I like to be called Kalera because I think the meaning of the name translates to my life. It means the power of a woman, and
Hmm.
so yeah, yeah.
I
So
never knew that.
I mean, it's not just because it's a nice name, but just because I think it's it's actually manifests in my life. So I just want to keep it going, amongst other reasons. Um, I guess well, I like to also call myself a creative. I like the creative space. I
Mm-hmm.
love, uh, yeah, anything creativity. I'm interested. I want to learn. I want to know in all of those things.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I like beautiful things, like I said earlier. So I like my fashion. I like, stuff like that. Um,
Okay.
when it
I
comes to
know.
profession, yeah, go
Oh no, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say professionally, I work as a lawyer, young lawyer. I mean, but I get involved in other things. Like I have an NGO. I try to create content here and there. Yeah, have a few things up my sleeve. So yeah,
Yeah, I
basically.
know, and we'll come to like how you got into like skincare and all of that. Because I know like you're big on skincare as well. But so this session is the goal of this session is to talk on resilience
Okay.
and bouncing back. How they say when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And I think that your life and just knowing you, like and the little that I know
Mm-hmm.
about you, just knowing you, I know that you have not decided to, or you have decided to not stay with what life gave you, but then
Yeah.
rise above it and show other people how to do the same.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in spaces with you, and one of the things I really love about just being in the same space with you is how you radiate joy. Like you just find reasons to just, make people laugh. You have such a beautiful smile. And if nobody knew who you are, what you've been through, what you're going through, it'll be hard to think that you're actually going through any challenge in life.
Yeah.
So I want us to maybe start from your childhood. And as a child, yeah, just talk about how different did you feel from everyone and why?
Okay, so this might be surprising to you, but I think as a child, or when I
Uh-huh.
when I try to think about my years as a child, I don't remember feeling difference for the most part of it. And
Okay.
this is how I felt. Okay. I don't know if it's because of how I was treated at home, because at home I was never treated different.
Okay.
But then once I started growing up a little more, because as a child, really, what do you know? You know,
Uh-huh.
once I started growing up a little more, started becoming more self-aware as a kid. Um, Maybe in my school spaces and maybe in other social spaces, you'd find people asking questions, what happened to you? Um, and also you get those long stares from people. And so then you now start becoming self aware. You know that, okay, maybe there's something wrong. But for me, I just thought of when I think about my childhood today, I think about myself as a child who just was living with a condition. And I don't see it as anything, I mean, strange. So I really didn't feel different until people started. I mean, there's so many external noises, and that's what
Uh-huh.
brought it to light for me. So,
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I think it's been a running theme through all the conversations we've had so far, where everyone I'm speaking with says that, that there's love at home. So I don't really realize that maybe there's something different about me or whatever. And so we'll talk about, okay, does your condition have a name? And would you like to share just to give people what the condition is?
so I can talk about what it is.
Uh-huh.
Um, so what is that it's a paralysis.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Okay.
damage. Yeah. So I think when I was younger, it was such a grave damage that I couldn't feel my legs. But as I'm growing now, it's better because now I can feel it's growing and all of that. Maybe not the way I wanted to, but yeah. So it's that my right leg is smaller than the left one.
Uh-huh.
And it's quite
So,
significant. And
yeah, like I've never, to be honest, you don't look like somebody who has a condition, a paralysis, whatever that is. And I don't think that you've ever identified as somebody with a physical disability or a challenge or whatever. What shaped your reasoning or your perception and perspective on this?
okay, so there's something I always tell people. I always say that. I mean, all
Uh-huh.
of us as humans, before anything happens or before your physical looks or anything else
Uh-huh.
that may be wrong with you, you are just a human being with dreams and aspirations, and you really just want to live life. And I think I always thank God that He has blessed me with a beautiful brain. I like to call my brain beautiful. I just like the way I think, okay, because I don't think about myself as someone with a challenge before the things I want to do or the dreams I
Uh-huh.
have. I always myself as, okay, I'm a lawyer in the making. Before I now think about, okay, but this is wrong with you, I don't even think about it sometimes. Like, unless there's some limitation or I start to think about, or I notice that there's something that is going to be a stumbling block, but I really don't think about it. I think that's a mindset that has actually helped me, because before anything else, I am who I am, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the network was in and out a bit, but if I heard what you said,
Right.
you're saying that it's really all about your mind and what you decide to believe about yourself. And I like what you said in the beginning where you said really you're a human being with dreams, with aspirations, with a beautiful life ahead of you,
Yeah.
and so it's better to focus on that rather than focus on what you know may be a challenge,
Yeah.
which isn't really even a significant part of your life. You control what is significant to you. That's really beautiful. So talk us through getting into law. Like, where did you start with education? Did you always want to be a lawyer? How
Okay.
did you get into that?
Okay. So you want, when you say I should start with you with education, you want to know what schools I went to.
um
Is that,
yeah, you
no?
could, if you want to, but really what I want you to share with us is, did you always know you wanted to be a lawyer? Or so, for example, we've had someone who spoke with us. She ended up as a lawyer, but she started off in the sciences, wanting to do computer engineering, and then
Mm,
now she ended up as a lawyer. So just that's kind of what I'm looking for, your journey to becoming a
yeah.
lawyer.
Yeah. So I think I know that I've always wanted to become a lawyer, and it was one of those childhood dreams. I just knew it, and when I was done with my first degree, I didn't know what else. I didn't feel very fulfilled in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew there was something that I really wanted, and I had not achieved it. And so, childhood dream, going through your educational process, or going through my educational process, finishing off with political science and sociology as my first degree, and then not feeling fulfilled. And then I had a conversation with my twin brother, and he's like, "You've always wanted to study the law and all of those things. Why don't you go for
Oh,
it
you're a
now?"
twin?
Yes, I am. Oh, you didn't know?
Never knew. Like, I know that you and him have like a striking resemblance, and then you're both really fair, but I didn't know that
Yes,
you were twins. Hmm.
twins. So yeah. So we just had a conversation, and in the moment we were just flipping through like a newspaper. We saw some admission thing for, I mean, the school I did my LLB in. And then the next day, it was on Sunday. So Monday, we went to school and I picked up the form, wrote the entrance exam, got in, and yeah, here we are
That
now.
was it.
So,
Wow.
but
What would be some of like, what would you say are some of like the major challenges you've faced in pursuing, education and just like your law journey?
right. Okay, so that's generally as a law student, right? Oh,
So, as a law student, but also considering that there's like that physical disability or
yeah.
challenge. Yeah,
Right. So I'll address the second bit of the question first. So
perfect.
every time I get some compliments or some applaud from another person just because they find out that I'm a lawyer now. In the beginning, I was very like, why? You know, because it's not that special. Like, so many people have law degrees, so many people have become lawyers and all of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
really, what is it? And they say, oh, you've done well with your condition and everything. And I'm like, it still didn't make sense to me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean, it's my brain, right? My leg is
Yeah,
affected. I'm still like a very well functioning human being. The only thing is there's challenge, some condition I have to live with for the rest of my life, and that's okay. So I always got confused, So for me, it's honestly, I don't see it as a big deal being a lawyer with a physical condition. I don't think it's a big deal. I didn't face any stigma going to school. What I rather faced in in some parts of my law school journey was
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'd find people who are rude to you, you find people who are mean to you, people who just look down on you. But for me, that's even happens in outside law school. So
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't have any. But if you talk about it from the point of view where you know the struggle, because everyone struggles in law school, I'm not even going to lie. So
Mm-hmm.
if you talk about the point of view where you know the actual things we have to deal with in school. So why I did my professional bits, my first year was done in UPSE. And what was really challenging for me there was climbing the third floor every time, every single day. I had to
There
go
was
up and
no
down the
no
staircase.
lift. There
There,
was no elevator.
there was, but I mean, they just decided that no one should use it. And so you had to use the staircase. So those are some of the challenges. And then maybe staying in class for 13 hours with a 50 minutes break. That was also another challenge for me because I deal with back pain. And so that was also very challenging. So those are
Mm.
moments that I'm reminded of my condition and struggling to get what everyone else is getting. But besides that, I think I have been fine.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't
Um,
have scares. I don't have to be rushed to the hospital at any point. Like, I live a very normal life. I
yeah.
think even more normal than people.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I really like your outlook on life and your perspective that, like, it's my brain that I'm using to go through law school. It's my brain that I'm using to achieve all these things and not necessarily my legs. And like I said in the beginning, you've never come across, like, in any of our interactions or whatsoever, as somebody who is disabled or has a physical challenge. Like, if somebody didn't know, they will never know.
Yeah.
And what has brought you to this point? I know you've said that, oh yeah, you're like at home, it was never really a big deal. Like, they never made you, focus on, oh, this is my issue, or you have this and you have that. But I feel like there's beyond the mindset, there's something that should have pushed you to that point. And if it's nothing to, I mean, you can just say it's nothing, but is there something really defining that got you to say, hey, I'm not going to focus on these things. I just want to be happy?
Right. So, I'm not going to lie to you. Um, when you, I know that I can't, whatever I'm saying now makes it look like I
Mm-hmm.
don't really care about the condition or anything. I don't let it define me. And really, I don't let it define me a lot of times. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of times. Um, every single day of my life, I think about it. It's internally worries me. It's, it's crazy because I know the life I would have had beyond what I'm living now, you know. It's not the easiest of things to deal with.
Right.
Um, but I think what has helped me is that I decided not to put myself in a box. Every step of my or throughout my journey, I found that people want to put me in a box, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it was. I don't know where the audacity came from, but I always told myself that this box you want to put me in, I'm not going to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So remember when I went to high school, there was this lady who, and this is not me being a certain type of way, but there was this lady who, I think she was an amputee. She was a part of an organization for people with physical challenges, and she was
Okay.
encouraging me to join the organization. I declined my entire 4 I declined. I didn't want to be a
I
part of it.
definitely see you declining.
I'm like, what am I coming to do here? Are we come to sit here and
Right.
then party? Like, what exactly are we coming to do? I don't
Yeah.
want to be like that. And no disrespect to the organization and other organizations or anything, but I really,
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of myself, like, so my mindset, I never thought of myself as someone living with a physical condition first. I thought of myself as a young girl, teenager living her life. Before that, and even those things would come when I have some challenge or some issue that
Mm-hmm.
needs fixing, and I'll just parents and tell them that so we need this to be fixed, and it gets fixed. So I really didn't see myself in a space like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So not putting myself in a box and really just chasing my dreams, really trying to be who I want to be. And I think it's innate. It's who I am. I mean, if you got to know me deeper than you do, you'd find that I am such a passionate person. And I'm very passionate about the things I want to do. And no one can stop me. Nothing can stop me. And some condition that I don't even understand cannot stop me. So, and as long as I
Yeah.
can and I can live a normal life, I don't see what should really stop me.
Yeah.
It's not easy. I'm making it sound like it really doesn't matter. I think about it every single day, every day of my life, but I can't do anything about it. And I'm not less the things I can't control me. So yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. Like you cannot let the things that you cannot control you. So now, let's just digress a bit. Talk to us
Okay.
about how did you land in skincare?
Um. Oh, this is an interesting one. I think in the University of Ghana.
Uh-huh.
So I found that a lot of my, not my colleagues, but people I knew in school. Um. Okay, maybe not. Let me not say this. Well, I there was a lot of conversation. Okay, everyone wanted to have a certain type of skin tone. Everybody wanted to have, like, people wanted to be fairer. I'm sorry, but like, that kind of thing, that kind of conversation when you're
Uh-huh.
young and then you're amongst your peers and everybody's talking about these things. So I started to read about this. And one of the first things I read about was sunscreen. And there was this misconception about sunscreen about how black people don't need to wear sunscreen and all of those things. But then I started looking deeper and actually bought sunscreen when I found out about it. But it left a white cast on me, so
Uh-huh.
I stopped around the time. And I didn't know who to ask again because nobody really understood it around me, right? So it just got me reading and reading about how to achieve beautiful skin. Like everyone wants to achieve, but then they end up using the wrong products. And when I was done with school, because I had read and explored and tried multiple products, I started blogging about it. So I would write, share my experience on my blog. I had this Instagram page that I would just review products, and yeah, that's just how it started for me. I got
Uh-huh.
interested. I started to appreciate it more, found why it was important for everyone to care for their skin and all of those things. So yeah, that's it. Mm.
Yeah. Um, so the one of the reasons why I even got into doing these conversations is because celebrating International Women's Day and then the theme of accelerating action, and so I just thought, you know what, everybody will be focusing on very high achieving women, all the 40 plus who are CEOs and doing big things, but they are young people, young women who have bold stories, and then who have strength of character, and have also gone through the process and developed themselves and built themselves in a way that is an example to the next generation and even our peers and our colleagues. And I mean, just gathering from all the things you said, I definitely made a right decision in asking to have a conversation with you, especially on resilience. So I'm just going to highlight some of the things that you said so far before we continue. You've said that if you're going to live a life that is fulfilling, regardless of the lemons that life throws at you, number one, your mindset.
Yes.
Realize that who you are is way beyond what you are. And so that what you are being, whatever challenges that you have, whether physical, however, but who you are, think of your dreams. Like as a person, you're a beautiful person, you have a rich mind. Someone commented earlier and said something about your brain. I'm coming, let me just find the comment. Um, but the person said Josephine is big in brains. And I mean, I definitely can agree with that. And then you also talked about focusing on the love that is around you. So you shared like your family, how everybody just loves you. And you really didn't even realize you had a challenge or what people will call a disability until external voices started coming in. And so focus on what you have around you, the environment that loves you and pours into you. And then you also said you decided to not put yourself in a box. And, you know, because of that, you ventured into becoming a lawyer, advocacy, skincare, fashion, and all sorts of things. And there's nothing that you cannot do unless you don't want to do it. And you've talked to us about how it's all within, it's innate. So you birth who you are, your audacity, your confidence, your boldness, and your belief in yourself from within, and
Right.
then it will radiate on the outside. Like I said, I've always known you to just be a joyful person. Like everywhere you are, you're just like very, very, very joyful. There are lots of people who, you know, have sent in messages and commented in the last couple of sessions about being depressed because of the issues that life throws at them. I want you to talk on that, and you know, kind of touch on how do you remain joyful and how do you remain not just staying afloat but being happy regardless of the situation you find yourself in, not allowing life to
Wow.
weigh you down.
Right. This is a tough one because
Mm-hmm.
I may have been joyful all the time, or when I'm around people that I'm comfortable with, but it's really not the case. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's. I think I tend to be comfortable in myself around people that I am, or people who I know have accepted me. I need
Mm.
to get that space. I need to be around people that I'm comfortable with. You know. So yeah, that's that's really what it is. I I mean I've struggled with I don't know, not clinically diagnosed, but I've been depressed for as
Mm-hmm.
long as I know, and I've had a lot of challenges. Yeah, that would weigh me down, but I try to just find light in the little things that I get up to. Like I guess
Mm.
so the people around me, people, my friends, my family, when I'm doing things that I love to do, those things just keep me going and happy. I think so. But
I like
yeah,
that, and that's
behind
very
the scene,
real. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's very, very real because it will be very superficial to say that, oh, you know, happy go lucky, bubbly all the time.
yeah,
But the truth is that you find, you know, joy in the little moments, and in the little things. And like you said, like your environment, realizing that the people who love you and they've accepted you regardless of your disability, challenge, whatever it is that you may be facing. And so focus on that, like the joy that you derive from that. And it's absolutely okay to be overwhelmed. Like, don't
Right.
deny it. Acknowledge that you're overwhelmed. Acknowledge that this thing, like, I'm not always going to, be happy and be bubbly and smiling. But in the moment when you are happy, enjoy those moments, and then carry those moments with you and continue to live with those moments. Do you want to talk a bit about what you do, like your nonprofit, advocacy, all of that?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm asking, do you want to touch on or talk a bit about what you do, like with your nonprofit and advocacy?
Yeah, the non-profits. Um, so the non-profit started out in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in 2015, I really just wanted to do something for maybe underserved communities, underprivileged
Mm-hmm.
people. Not that I was very privileged, but yes, I just wanted to contribute to the growth and development of society. And so I spoke to a couple of my friends. I'm pretty sure some of them are on here. And I'd still like to say a big thank you to all of them. I spoke to them about it, and everybody was
Kaliva, your
interested.
fan base is strong. Your fan base is strong, pa.
So, yeah, so when we're on vacation, we just like put together little monies we have,
Uh-huh.
go to one orphanage or the other, go to primary school in underserved communities, and then really just give back to them, talk to them, have conversations, have fun, have a good time with them. Um, then I had to go on a long break because of
Uh-huh.
school. I mean, those school took all of my time, or most of my time. Also, school did not allow you to work, so there was no money coming from anywhere. So, and because we're largely self-funded, I mean, I had
Uh-huh.
to go on a break. And so when I got called to the bar, it was one of the things I decided I was going to get back to as soon as I was called to the bar. And um, but then during the break period, there has been some growth. Of course, there's been some involvement and some change. I found out that I was passionate about the development of young people. I liked to see young people thrive and grow in their spaces, and I also wanted to contribute to that. Especially for people again in underserved communities, young people who don't get opportunities to have some level of exposure to make them better people in life. And so the NGOs
Uh-huh.
focus on communities like that, and people like that. So young people, um, we so our our ice breaking project was the hospital project, the children's hospital project that you may have seen on my page. Um, Currently, we're in the planning phase, or yes, we're or talking stage of planning some back to school thing
Okay.
in a school, but most likely outside of Accra. Want to give out essentials, daily essentials for students in those schools,
Okay.
and also talk to them, encourage them, see if we can talk to them about their careers, and yeah, help them grow the little way we can. Long term, we want to build community centers also
Hmm.
in underprivileged communities. So, I mean, help young people the more. So yeah, so that's
That
it.
sounds really impactful. Um, what does success look like for you? I know you're a lawyer. You like to say you're a young lawyer, but I know you're a lawyer, and that in itself is a huge success. But if you're talking to like your younger self, how will you say, okay, girl, this should be like your perception or perspective on success?
So you know how they say who you become in the next 5 years depends on everything you've done in the
Mm-hmm.
past, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, all those little things you do come together to shape you, and that is why probably in the next 5 years someone may see you and ask you how you did it because they're seeing a success story, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think of success accomplishing little things which
Mm.
would come together to make you that person, you know. And so I may not have gotten my $1 million brief as a lawyer yet. I mean, I also consider being a lawyer or getting called to the bar a means to an end. So for me, it's just like a stepping stone. In my
Mm-hmm.
head, it's nothing by something, and this is not me discrediting. It's not that much of a big deal the way I would want it to translate in my life. And so everything I would do throughout my journey as a lawyer in the next 5 to 10 years, it should count for something, and that is when I would call it my success. So
Mm.
that's what I think about success. So the little things I do today, once I've told myself I'm going to form a certain habit, I I set my mind to it, I get it done. I'm able to achieve or make that effort to gain that habit. I want to read 10 books. I'm able to do that.
Wow.
I want to, dress better. I want to do all these things. I'm able to achieve all those little things. In the long term, what those things make me is what I consider success. So,
Mm.
yeah. Yeah.
This is so powerful. Is there, I think in theory or whatever, it's called the law of compounding interest or something like that, where like the little things like pile up to become big. And I think that's a very great perspective, especially like don't like like what I'm thinking is it also helps you to focus on your now, enjoy the moment, but then also it gives you something to look forward to. Like I know this is
That,
a means to an end, and even though like yes, I've been called to the bar, there's more for me to achieve, but I don't
mm,
just overlook this little win, this actually mighty but little in
right,
context.
right.
Yeah, so I think that's very powerful. Would you say you have or have had mentors who have supported you and pushed you along the journey? And if yes or no, talk a bit on mentorship and getting support from other people who have gone ahead of you as a woman.
Right. As a woman,
Yes, as a
men.
woman specifically.
Okay, so I'll not say I've had any form of direct mentorship from anyone so
Okay.
far. Padma, all right. And so what I do is to, especially if there are people if they are talkers or they are speakers, I mean, I tend to listen to them. I tend to
Mm,
learn more about them. I think that's another form of mentorship, although it's not direct, but you
yeah.
are learning from them, right? Um, when it comes to, I always mention my mom as my biggest mentor because she's the one I'm closest to. She's the one I've seen. She's the first woman I've known, and many things that I am today, it's because of her, and it's because I picked them from her. We have
Mm,
quite a close relationship, and I'll tell you, she's like my number one fan. Um, he's so when it comes to support, I have support largely from my family and
mm,
my small circle of friends. Um, yes, so that's where I get that's my support system. I'll say those are my support systems, and also people that I have worked with especially as a lawyer, because I started doing real work when I became a lawyer. So
Uh-huh.
people like that have had some impact in my life. So yeah, that's it for mentorship and
That's really
support.
beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that. Like people need to realize that not all forms of mentorship will be, one on one with one CEO somewhere. But then you like taking that step to say, I'm going to be intentional about listening to XYZ people because as I listen to them, there's so many things I can learn from them. It's not direct mentorship as it's called, but then there's still so much you can learn from people afar. And from
exactly.
from the beginning of our conversation, one of the things that I've taken note of is how intentional you are about like filling your own cup. So
Yeah,
you are like looking out for yourself. Okay, because you talked about reading books. You've talked now about like, okay, I see somebody, I think they're great, I listen to them. It's not direct mentorship, but I feel like there's so much I can, glean from them. And so another thing that I'm taking away, and I want the people listening and who will watch later to take away, is that like regardless of where you are in life, what you are, who you are, being intentional about yourself and like your personal development like is also very key. And then you also talked about like the people you worked with. Would you say that like women have been very supportive like throughout your journey in life in general? Obviously you've talked about your mom, but like in the workspace, in school education and all.
yeah. So in the workplace, I've had two female bosses, and
Mhm.
I mean, so that's whole um thing about women not supporting women, especially at the workplace. I have not experienced that because I've worked with two
Hmm.
amazing female bosses, and they are always willing to support and assist wherever they can, So these two
Yeah.
women, one during my national service and one I work with right now. So yeah, they phenomenal women. Yeah.
Yeah, I like
So
that. Like women actually support women. So that notion of like women don't support women is not exactly true. There could be some truth to it, but it's not a general truth. And so thank you so much for mentioning that. Is there anything you want us to touch on? Anything you want to share? Anything you want to talk about?
uh, nothing comes to mind now. But yeah, nothing really comes to mind.
Yeah.
But I
So
like the
I know.
question.
No,
I
say that
like
again.
I
Say
like
that
the
again. Sorry.
conversation. I
Uh-huh.
just wanted to say that I like that we are having this conversation. I think that when it comes to the conversation around people living with physical conditions and things, I think in our part of the world, especially, we need a lot more conversations like this to
Mm,
happen. Just people see it from different perspectives. It's not as bad as maybe many people make it seem. Like I've had people say the meanest of things to me. People have. I mean, there's so many things that I've gone through this condition, and I think people should just be enlightened, you know. So you
yeah.
find people ask me how my kids are going to look like if I ever had kids, whether they are going to have the same condition
Really?
as me. Yes, and even on Saturday, I had someone tell me that I should go and search on AI. I should go to an AI thing and search for a solution to my problem. I said everything. He just will not budge. Yeah, I've had people say some of the meanest things. I mean, you can't
Wow.
imagine. So I think
Okay, I have one more question for you. Just from what you said, how can society do better in being inclusive? How can society do better?
I think first a conversation like this or conversations like this should be helpful because it's a lot of awareness. I know, and maybe in the 90s and all of those things, it was probably worse than this.
Uh-huh.
Um, I know some some people even say that when you suffer things like this is because someone in your family, your grandparents or your, your
Yeah.
uncle or your body has done something grave, and so you're paying for it. Those misconceptions are there,
Mm-hmm.
and to a large extent, I think awareness should really be encouraged, and conversations like this is supposed to bring us some of that awareness. I also think that when you talk about inclusivity, it's it transcends many aspects of our daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, as long as people are aware, as long as people are considerate and people understand what it means, allow people, especially institutions, to create environments that would foster the inclusivity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
the around inclusivity is, I think, it's a very big conversation. Like it's a broad conversation. There's so many
Yeah.
things. I think inclusivity is very lacking in this country. Um, when it comes to public spaces, access to these public spaces, you
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, you have to make do, but it's really not always friendly. You know, yeah, these are off the top of my head some of the things I think we can do to foster inclusivity. Um,
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And in when you were talking, there was something you said about like it's important to have conversations like this so that people can also see different perspectives. Because to be honest, a lot of people who will have conversations on having a disability will make it sound, I understand that it's a challenge, but a lot of people talk about disability like is like there's nothing more for me. But one of the
yes,
reasons why I wanted to talk with you was because you've, over the couple of years that I've known you, you have continued to just like, oh my God, break the perception or the lens through which we see like somebody with a challenge. And I think that it's important for people to realize that, like you said in the beginning, there's more to you than that challenge that you have. And in your case, how you said that it's not going to go anywhere. So you decide if you're going to let that weigh you down or you're going to go on and achieve all the things you want to do. And I'm really grateful that you were very real with us, that it's not all happy and smiley every time, but you enjoy the moments that come with joy, and then you hold on to those memories, and you're very very intentional about your circle and your space,
yeah,
because that's your source of support, your love and everything. And lastly, there's something you said in like what you just said, that like advocacy, creating awareness, and conversations on inclusivity, it transcends like so many aspects of our daily lives. And so for people who may be wondering, okay, how can I make life better for everybody in general? I think we should begin to focus on the little bits of life. And what you won't want someone to do to you, don't do to another person. Just be considerate, be kind. And when you were sharing that somebody was asking you all sorts of questions, there's a need for so much awareness, like you said, in education. And I think it's important for people to read and be knowledgeable and not just be going around talking like, they don't have any sense. But yeah, thank you so much. Any final words
well,
as we wrap up?
I just want to say that it's just important to know who you are, and
Mhm.
then don't let your limitations be ahead of you. Like, own your life and then just really live it. I think living life is beautiful. And you'd find that many of the people who have actually um I'll not say who have actually made it in life, but people who have made some impact, whether they are the richest people or whatever, they are different.
Mm-hmm.
They not different in the sense that all of them have like physical challenges or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just something different about them. So embrace your difference and just really live your life and don't let it stop you from achieving your goals and your aims and your aspirations. Yes, and thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me. It's been a
Thank you
beautiful.
so much. Thank you. Absolutely. It's been, see, like conversations like these for me are very important because they create a paradigm shift. Like people now see a whole new perspective of, okay, there's actually somebody who grew up with a physical disability but never saw herself as somebody with a physical disability. And for me, like even people who don't have physical disabilities or challenges or whatever, this is like even a key lesson for you that regardless of the things happening around you, like you said, own your life. It's important to know who you are. Own your life and live it. That's my mantra right now. Own your life and live it. And people who make impact, people who make a difference, and people who make a difference are different. And so embrace your difference, own it, live your life, go out there, live your dreams, and make life what you want it to be. Thank you so much for agreeing to have this conversation with me, Kalira. I absolutely enjoyed it. Is it okay if I save it so that people can watch it later? Because I think it will really, really, you know, pop the light on in people's brains. Yeah.
That's totally fine with
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much. I absolutely enjoyed this. Thank you, thank you. Thank you all for joining. So I will post like your handles so people can follow you, including your foundation, your charity, non-profit work that you do as well. Yeah, so people can follow and if they would like to support and all of that. Yeah, and then if you want skincare tips, follow her. She has the skincare. All right, okay. Thank you so much.
much.
This was a great conversation. All right, bye.